Hey guys, Frank here, and today we're going to take a look at this shot that I shot during the workshop in Belgium with our model Flore. Now, during the workshops, I always try to, push myself a little bit to do different things. But there's always, of course, a part that comes back, and that's creating contrast with one light source. Now, you might wonder, why is that important? Yeah, well, it is important for the very simple reason. Sometimes you're on a location with a client, and your client wants something else. Like, you can't get away with always just shooting the headshots with straight, flat lighting, and there we go. There are a lot of clients that just love to do something different. They want to, be different than the competition. And that's where high contrast images can be awesome. It doesn't work for everybody, but when it works, you get some really high impact images. And, the tool that I use for this the most is actually my own Frank Doorhof FlashBender from Rogue. Now, the FlashBender is a really interesting article because you can use it as a strip light, as you can see here, but you can also take this off. And of course it makes a nice sound. You can use it as a bounce card, but you can also do this, and now it doesn't lose any light to the ceiling. And the fun thing is, you also get a softbox attachment with it, and if you are a little bit creative, and of course as photographers we are, you can even fold it, and this one is a little bit stiff still, but you can also fold it as a snoot. So there we go, now we have a snoot. Now you might wonder, how do you use a snoot like this? Well, it's actually pretty simple if you think about it. Think about this. You have a wedding, and there's not a lot of great lighting. But you do have 3 strobes with you. Of course, 3 Giotto strobes, right? Now, how about this? Using our Rogue magnetic system with a blue and a red gel on one side, so on both sides, one red, one blue, and then giving your assistant the snoot, and just put your camera on ETTL, put it on flash exposure compensation 0 or +2, depending on your camera, and of course your exposure compensation on -2. Now, why did I tell you the flash exposure compensation in 2 settings? Very simple. Some cameras connect it to your exposure compensation, and then when you go down 2 stops in your exposure compensation, you have to go up 2 stops in your flash exposure compensation to make sure that the flash looks right. And some cameras don't. They just disconnect them, and then you can say, okay, my ambient light has to be 2 stops down, my flash has to be normal, so you just leave it on 0, depending on your camera. And now you get great shots with your bride and groom dancing around in full light, and the rest is a little bit dark, and you get this beautiful blue and red lights from the side. Totally different venue. But hey, it's not about that. The thing that I love to use the FlashBender for is creating contrast. Now, the cool thing about something like the hybrid strobes from Giotto is that you can place them in very, very nice locations. So you can place them in a location where a normal big strobe is a little bit more difficult to place. Plus, you can very easily use them in horizontal and vertical setting. If you look at the video now, you can see that I'm using the FlashBender in the horizontal setting, and I'm aiming it slightly down, so it's actually above my model aiming down. The nice thing about the FlashBender is that the light spread is pretty wide. We didn't make it very small, but pretty wide. And that means that when I shoot straight into my model, as you can see in this image, you have a really nice flat looking contrast image. So it's still high contrast, but it's literally a little bit flat on the face, which gives you a beautiful portrait. But as soon as I start to walk around my model, that's where I get my contrast. So for example, when I shoot into the light, you get this beautiful, almost silhouette-like model shot. And when you shoot it straight from the front, add a blue gel, add a little bit of motion, and look at that. Now you got some really cool shots. Hey, as usual, let's take a look at the behind the scenes video of this setup. As you can see, Very simple setup, only one strobe, and of course, because of the FlashBender, we can turn it around on our strobe because it doesn't fit fixed. You can literally just move it around. And of course, you can use it vertical and horizontal. And in this case, as you can see, I'm lighting both my backdrop and my model with the same light source to create some really nice images. So if you want a FlashBender, make sure to find your local Rogue dealer or just order it online from our store if you're in the Netherlands. Thank you so very much for watching, guys, and see you again next time.